Well, this ceremony definitely didn't go off as planned. As the President of the United States is giving out the Medal of Freedom Award, all of this as we are expecting major disclosures in just a few days from now when Donald Trump takes political office. All of this as there still is a psyop that we're trying to make sense of that happened recently in Las Vegas. As truly we are living in very bewildering days as individuals like Bono, Michael Jackson, Denzel Washington, Ralph Lauren, Michael J. Fox, along with Hillary Clinton and George Soros, a man who Elon Musk previously described as someone who hates humanity.
He fundamentally hates humanity. That's my opinion.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, well, he's doing things that erode the fabric of civilization.
All of those individuals received Medal of Freedom Awards from the current president of the United States that literally right now on his desk has plans to bomb Iran. Yes, you heard that correctly. The U.S. Secretary of State literally just a few hours ago presented Joe Biden with plans for direct U.S. military actions that would allow it to bomb Iranian nuclear sites. So yeah, there's that, as of course Kamala Harris prepares for her last, probably not last, but last humiliating act as Vice President of the United States, as she's soon going to be certifying the 2024 presidential elections and announcing that Donald Trump overwhelmingly beat her. As in between now and January 20th, it's still a long way, as there are a lot of shenanigans, a lot of things happening, especially in the financial markets, which we will get into in a little bit, as it's fair to say here now that the intel agencies are definitely up to no good here. As within the last 4 years, the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security have spared no expense when it comes to tracking, databasing, surveilling, charging, arresting, and indicting people for their political thoughts and expressions. As of course, they went after every J6er except for the pipe bomber, which they just released video footage of for some strange reason. 4+ years after the incident, this as they continue to fail to stop larger actions of domestic terrorism that a lot of people really do truly question the motives of. As today, we're also finding out that the New Orleans attacker created a new type of explosive compound that has never been used in the United States or Europe. This, of course, going along with what Sarah Adams was warning about recently on the Sean Ryan podcast, as the federal authorities are now telling us that there was no link between the New Orleans attack and the Las Vegas attack, as of course we still have a lot of pressing questions about that event, as the theories circulating what actually is going on here are absolutely fascinating and might even signal larger disclosures when it comes to black sites and secret tech that, of course, we've been ever so curious about. Dr. Stephen Greer has some very interesting comments 3 weeks ago that we're going to correlate here, as one prevailing theory right now about the Las Vegas incident was that this very capable, extremely smart, and dangerous man who was a Special Forces Green Beret, which means the top echelons of the U.S. military when it comes to special operations, set off an explosive that was meant to, of course, send a larger message, warning specifically about the latest drone technology that's being utilized by the Chinese against the United States. As a lot of people are now speculating that the summon feature could have been used by the Tesla, and there could be a lot of alternative kind of possibilities of what actually really went on here. As CNN just released a new camera angle of the Trump hotel truck explosion, as a lot of people are saying, wait, his head's still there, it was moving right before the explosion. As a lot of people are saying that the official versions of events, especially with him using a 50 AE, doesn't really add up here, doesn't really make sense. As it looks like here, someone's not telling the truth here. Someone's lying, as a lot of people are now even questioning the man who brought forward the original kind of email and manifesto from this guy, as Sam Shoemate, who went on the Sean Ryan podcast, allegedly with the Special Forces Green Berets manifesto, looks like he's changing his tune, as previously he stated how Livesberg, the Special Forces Green Beret guy, was happy and alive, as now he is claiming that he went on anti-psychotropic drugs, wasn't well, which could have led for him to essentially lead to the major decisions that he did outside of Trump Tower in Las Vegas. As of course, this is a major change of story here, as our audience here believes specifically that this is a Fed psyop from the very start, as there's also larger possibilities of this kind of manifesto that was presented to us yesterday to also be completely fabricated, which is something that we need to entertain as well. Now, what really went on here? I don't know. I don't claim to know, but let's go further down the rabbit hole as Clint Russell points out that about 3 weeks ago, Dr. Stephen Greer, a ufologist and a retired physician, literally came out and said that there would be a major disclosure regarding hidden technology that would be released sometime between then and early January, as he then also talked about multiple Green Beret sources. As some people are saying now, was he connected to the Green Beret that, of course, did this larger symbolic action outside of Trump Tower in Las Vegas?
Special Forces guy. He turned to me, he says, "Thank you for what you're doing for those of us stuck on the other side." These guys coming forward are and were patriots, right? So they get pulled into these operations not knowing they're illegal.
Now, is that a coincidence, or is there something more to these larger disclosures that are going to be coming here? Well, that's not the only thing Stephen Greer has to say, as a lot of people are also now connecting the New Jersey drone story mystery with some major revelations that are soon to come in 2025. But before getting into all of that, we wanted to tell you about the sponsor of this particular video, and that, of course, is a precious metals silver company that, of course, I'm very bullish on, since the financial world is pretty crazy right now, as China is also buying a lot of gold. There's a lot of positive indicators, especially in the precious metals business, and that's why I decided to officially work with Vizsla Silver Corp. With just 2 weeks between now and the inauguration, some people are saying that this is an important silver announcement of the decade, as 9 analysts, all with buy ratings, are covering this one as Wall Street stalwart Franklin Templeton, as well as Sprout Inc. and billionaire investor Eric Sprout, are all shareholders of the sponsor of today's video. This is a silver company listed on the New York Stock Exchange that many people believe is underpriced and undervalued. Silver stock of our generation. Big statement. Let's look at some of the details here. As the sponsor for today's show is not just a typical average silver company, it could perhaps be the most compelling one, as it's trading on the New York Stock Exchange with 9 analysts already covering it, all of them having issued a buy rating, and Eric Sprout is a notable shareholder, as well as Sprout Inc. and Frank Templeton, the trillion-dollar Wall Street giant. Couple these with management and the CEO that are themselves shareholders, I'm telling you, 2025 is starting with a bombshell. As Vizsla Silver, ticker VZLA, you can see the analyst price targets right now on the screen. The stock is currently sub $2, as the projected targets show it from $2.75 all the way up to $4.50. 2025 is a year filled with catalysts for Vizsla Silver, whose management some would say is the best in the business. Go ahead, do a deep dive into the bios of the top brass here and check out their credentials. This, as Vizsla Silver has a market cap of less than $500 million with $88 million in cash, no debt. Vizsla Silver issued a preliminary economic assessments for its silver projects with an estimated production cost of $9.40 an ounce of silver. Compare that to the global average of $17.56 an ounce. No guarantees, but these preliminary assessments are very encouraging. Vizsla Silver's projects, called Panaco, is the world's largest, yes, largest silver gold project that is yet in production, as the company's 2025 catalyst includes making a production decision, updating their mineral resources estimates, and conducting a feasibility study. The company intends to make a production decision only following a release of a positive feasibility study, as seriously, I can't give a single reason not to conduct an in-depth due diligence on Vizsla Silver, given, of course, these potential catalysts. The 9 analysts, with their buy ratings and favorable price targets, as I record this videos, shares trade at $1.70. Now, let's see where 9 analysts are putting their targets, which is more than 150% higher than today's price. A developer like Vizsla Silver is trading at 0.43x of the net present value, yet the average production trades at 1.04x of the net present value. So once the market anticipates production is coming, the potential re-rating occurs that represents 164% upside. As this chart is a big one for me, this says today's sponsor, Vizsla Silver, ticker VZLA, could be a significant story in the silver sector and something definitely to look out for, as there's no other silver project on this scale, size, and near-term production timeline that is even remotely comparable. As do your own research, especially on the New York Stock Exchange, listed under Vizsla Silver. Now, going back to our original story, I definitely do see a lot of financial shakeups in 2025, as Dr. Stephen Greer is now coming out and predicting that there will be a huge UFO announcement in just 30 days from now, as he's saying that the New Jersey drone mystery is just the beginning, as a lot of people are correlating what is happening there with U.S. secret government black sites, advanced military technology, and the potential leaking and releasing of this to the larger general public with grander disclosures that the government could be going out of their way to try to prevent and stop, as currently there definitely is no sign of a lot of this controversy going away in 2025, except the opposite of that is true. There are larger signals that we're just beginning in the year of confusion, in the year of psyops, in the year of just mass amounts of information being thrown at us. As very interestingly, Stephen Greer had also this to say.
I'm going to hand off to every celebrity and every media outlet and every influencer I know. And I need you guys to do the same thing. And it'll be open source. It'll be on a site that is blockchain protected, that's now stood up. And it's got to be seen by several billion people within a few days. So that means it's got to go wide. We're not talking about ufology and a handful of UFO nuts knowing about this. The reason for it is that this summer he came to my place in Washington and he says, we don't want to risk our lives and our families' lives. And the main guy has 3 children, 2 of them are still fairly young. And he doesn't want to have his whole family killed for no good reason. In other words, where this gets released and it's a tree that fell in the woods, nobody heard.
This says, I'm personally waiting to see whatever comes our way, but it's fair to say that this year, definitely it will be met with a lot of information being sent to us, as of course I previously even argued with special videos just for my members, how specifically we are going to be living in a new day and age of psyop, mind warping, mind control, disinformation that is just going to avalanche on top of us, that is meant to spur on confusion. I don't know about you guys, it's already very difficult to try to discern fact from fiction, and I think it's only going to become that much more complicated moving ahead here. Now, is what Stephen Greer here talking about legit? Well, time will tell, as of course we're going to be paying close attention to this story, as we are pretty much skeptical of everything, as we are in one hell of a ride for this 2025 year that is only going to get a lot more confusing from here. And if you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. Things are going to get wild. Things are going to get crazy. And hey, at least it's not boring.